The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing, it changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed.
By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Now, in the past, many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough, and nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able.
Mr. President, can you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir?
And fuck us all anyway for the limber dick cocksuckers we are. Welcome to fucking Deadwood. Can be combatant. Oh.
Well, hello. I just found a video that I wanted to make a video out of. And I couldn't believe Matt Walsh actually said this. But the name of this video is Simps for Karens. Matt Walsh Simps for Karens. Basically, it's saying that we need Karens. Okay. So I'm honestly, I'm not sure what this is gonna come to. But before we get started, I'm going to pour me just a touch of my favorite bourbon in my favorite sterling silver. I'll call it my Doc Holliday cup. JTS Brown. So, my favorite Doc Holliday cup. And let's see what old Matt's got to say here.
Our daily cancellation begins with a very viral video that has divided the internet. And as always, the divide is between people who are obviously right and people who are obviously wrong. The video was posted to Twitter over the weekend and has since been viewed over 20 million times. It's not clear when this was filmed or who exactly the people involved are, but none of that really matters for the purposes of our conversation today. As you'll see, this is a dispute between a middle-aged woman and a group of people walking on a trail in a park in Fort Collins, Colorado. The clip was posted by an account called I Mean, Therefore I Am.
Fort Collins, Colorado. I'll tell you, I was in the military in Fort Carson, Colorado, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Colorado, it used to be such an excellent state to go to hunt, to fish, you know, but the longer I live, the more liberal it becomes, and it has just become a liberal hellhole.
M, who adds this caption, quote, "We don't hate Karens enough. Watch as one tries to lecture and stop a person with a service dog from enjoying a walk in Fort Collins." So this is another so-called Karen video. The person who posted it thinks that for all of the relentless vitriol aimed at Karens, the real problem is that there isn't even more, apparently. They're the most hated group on the planet, but they should be even more hated. Now, you might think, aren't there any other groups that deserve a little bit of criticism sometimes? Can't some of this anger and energy be directed occasionally at other demographics that behave in objectionable ways sometimes? No, of course not. Let's just keep hating the Karens, also known as middle-aged white women. because they're a safe group to hate after all, so let's just stick with that. But is the middle-aged white woman in this video actually deserving of hate? Well, let's watch and find out.
So I'm barred from going to a park because of a service animal.
What?
Do you own this park?
I live right up there.
So do I.
In this 3 times a week.
Okay, so? Do you own this park?
Service animals are not allowed.
Do you own this park?
Dogs are not allowed on this trail. I'm reporting you guys.
We're from the community college, that's fine.
What?
We're from the community college, that's why we're here today. We're on a field trip. So this service dog's allowed in the classroom as well. I'm pretty sure it's federally protected law.
Yeah.
No, this is not. This belongs to the city of Fort Collins.
So the way the federal law works,
you're saying that the American with Disabilities Act doesn't apply to
federal law trumps state law.
To city of Fort Collins regulations.
When you have a protected wildlife area, dogs are not allowed. That is a hard and fast rule. Did you see the disturbance of the animals around you as you walked?
So service dogs are legally permitted anywhere in the country that visitors can go.
So
even if dogs are excluded, this is a service animal. So you can call the authorities all you want, but technically this is a completely legal thing.
Did you know that there are protected...
We're gonna move on. Okay.
All right. You guys?
Okay, so let's review for a moment. These people have decided to bring their dogs to a park where dogs are explicitly forbidden. The woman explains that one of the reasons for this rule is that dogs disturb the other wildlife at the park. The other people claim that the dog is a service dog, which means that they have the right to bring it wherever they want, whenever they want. Now, let's clarify a couple of things here. First of all, even if this animal is a legitimate service dog, and that's a big, massive if, that does not, in fact, mean that they have the right to bring it wherever they want. The Americans with Disabilities Act, which is a disaster in many ways and imposes all kinds of totally ridiculous and counterproductive regulations all over the place, actually does not state that service dogs can go anywhere. In fact, certain parks and zoos, for example, are specifically carved out by the ADA as places where service dogs may not be allowed. So it seems that the, quote, Karen is right on the legal merits here. But, so that really should be the end of it, by the way. Like, if she's just right, then she's right. So what's your argument? Yeah, but I want to do it anyway. Give a shit what you want to do. It's like, you're not supposed, it's not allowed. She's right, sorry. I know you want to do something differently, but it's not allowed. But the other major issue is that, of course, the concept of a service dog has been, like so many other concepts in modern times, expanded to the point of total meaninglessness. So if a person says that they have a service dog, it might mean that they're visually impaired and need it in order to get around, but it might also mean, and these days more likely means, that the dog is something like an emotional support animal or whatever, which is to say that the dog is just a pet.
Got a point. He really does have a point. And the rule that you're not allowed to question where's the credentials of the service dog, or where's the dog's vest, or anything like that. Like you said, it could be an emotional support animal. Well, leave it home. If you need an emotional support animal to go out of your house, stay the fuck home. It's just that simple. It's to the point of ridiculousness at this point. There needs to be, it used to be where the dog had to be trained, the dog had to be credentialed, you had to have some kind of a collar or some kind of a vest on the dog that says service dog or something like that. And there are all kinds of service dogs. A friend of mine used to have a service dog that he had epileptic seizures. And this dog could tell minutes before he went into one of these seizures, and it would warn him, and so he would get on the floor or on the ground and sit, waiting for the seizure. And if the seizure happened, then the dog would come and literally lay across him to keep him stable and stationary. The dog was fucking awesome, to be honest with you. But he had credentials for the dog. And he had a vest for the dog. And there were things to tell you that this dog was a service animal. Another friend of mine had a service dog because he had health problems. And this dog, literally, I shit you not, if the guy dropped his cane, he couldn't bend over to pick it up. And he would literally tell the dog, get my cane. And that fucking dog would lean down, reach down, pick up the cane, and lift it up and hand it to the guy. So these dogs exist. They're very necessary, even if you're not blind. Now, granted, if you're blind, that's an obvious. But there are dogs that are service dogs for people who are not openly or obviously in need of a service dog. And those dogs still, in my opinion, should have some kind of collar, tag, or vest, or something to tell people, and only these vests and collars, tags, or whatever should only be authorized by authorized people, so that people can be confident that yes, this is a service dog and you need this dog to be with you. But like you said, today, this is becoming a bullshit, useless term as a service dog, because any support animal, it's my emotional support dog, or, fucking get you a cat, something, we need to revamp the meaning of service animal.
And in so many cases, service dog has become just another word for pet. Now, the law unfortunately does allow people to call a dog a service animal for any number of ridiculous and wholly fraudulent reasons. Although the law, again, still does not permit the dog to be brought to all public locations, especially not areas where there are other animals that also need to be protected. But even so, it is true that the law gives much more leeway than it should. Because in reality, the title of service dog should almost exclusively apply to seeing eye dogs. Almost everything else, with maybe a few other legitimate medical exceptions, should not qualify. If you need an emotional support animal, you don't actually need an emotional support animal. What you need to do is grow the hell up, okay? We would treat an adult like a freak if he walked around with his blankie or his teddy bear, for his emotional support. We should have the exact same level of contempt for adults with emotional support animals. It's embarrassing. It's infantilizing. Now, that might not apply to this specific situation. Maybe this was a legitimate service dog, but the principles remain true. Regardless, the woman is right about the law here. Either way, that's the fact. But I want to move past this particular incident and these specific people with their probably illegitimate, but maybe legitimate service animal. I want to go back to the caption, which obviously reflects what seems to be the prevailing sentiment in our society, where we're told we don't hate Karens enough. Now, I disagree. I think something closer to the opposite is true. I think we don't appreciate so-called Karens enough. Now, I've already made the case many times that the term Karen is a racist slur that no serious person, certainly no conservative, should ever use. Okay, the fact that it's a racist slur really isn't up for debate. It just is. And by the way,
Okay, I got to ask on that one. I got a question on that one, because it really does seem like the only ones who will literally come up to you and bitch about the slightest little, just the the most minute little thing really seems to be middle-aged, rich, white women. There's a name for black women that act like that too. They call them ratchet. I'm not sure what that means. The only other term for a ratchet that I know of is a tool that, well, maybe they're just tools. Anyway, a ratchet just is an irritating little tool that you can just sit and play with, and it just clickety, 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 click. Maybe that's it. I don't understand the term ratchet, but that seems to be saved specifically for black women. Karen is specifically seems it's for middle-aged, complaining white women. So if one is a Karen and the other one is ratchet, you know, we got to have a name somewhere. Now, a Karen, to my liking, my thinking, is someone who's wrong in their Kareninity. I don't know exactly what to call it, but if you're bitching about something and you're right, that's not a Karen. A Karen is somebody who is wrong and continues to bitch and moan and go all out to prove her point and just keeps proving herself wrong. So give me some comments on what, okay, a Karen is to you. What do you consider a Karen? What do you consider a ratchet woman? Let me know.
Started that way too. That's how it started. It started as a way for black people on Twitter to make fun of white women. Like that's the genesis of this term. I hate to tell you, that's where it comes from.
I didn't know that.
It is a pejorative term used to refer to a people of a certain race and gender. In literally any other context, we would all agree without debate that it is a slur.
Well, just like ratchet is to black women is a slur. Okay, there's just two different terms for two different types of women. Okay?
As I've explained in the past, if I started calling all annoying black women Shaniquas, there would be no argument that it's racist. Certainly, if I were...
It's not Shaniqua now, Matt. It's ratchet. See? That's... You gotta remember that. See, he doesn't know ratchet.
To say we don't hate Shaniquas enough, I would be roundly condemned as a racist by basically everybody on both sides of the political divide. Same if I started calling obnoxious Asians ching-chongs, you know? You get the point. In any other example, you can possibly...
Wait a minute. Is there a term for Asian women that are like this? Now, I will grant you this much. I've never seen a video of an Asian woman going off weird like this. If you've seen one, point me to it in the comments. Because I can't honestly tell you that I've ever seen a Karen Asian woman or a ratchet Asian woman, and I wouldn't know what the term would be regardless.
Think of it would be a slur. But we're supposed to accept the idea that being racist and bigoted towards white women somehow doesn't count. It's different for them. And for whatever reason, many conservatives don't just go along with this, they eagerly participate in it. But let's put all that aside for a moment.
Because we know the difference. Because we know the difference between a Karen and ratchet. And if a conservative is calling a woman Karen, it's because she's bitching about something she's wrong about. Okay? That's the bottom line. They have to be wrong to be a Karen. Okay? You can't be a Karen and be correct in your argument. That's not how Karen works.
Middle-aged white women against the Karen slur in the past. What I'd like to do now is go a step further. I think society needs the sorts of people that we call quote-unquote Karens. I am grateful for them, and you should be too. Because what are the so-called Karens doing in most of the videos that go viral? They're trying to enforce the rules. They're attempting to restore order in a world of chaos and confusion. There's a reason that this is so upsetting to people nowadays. Why is it? Why is it that nowadays this type of woman is so reviled? Well, because in past societies, in basically every past society, everywhere on earth, there was a strong sense of etiquette and a set of commonly understood social taboos that governed how people behaved. Our society has done away with virtually all of that, not for any noble reason, but simply because so many people in this country want to be able to do whatever the hell they want and break any rule they want, whenever they want, regardless of the problems and inconveniences it causes other people. They don't care about anyone but themselves. This is why they're impervious to shame.
I understand that. I get that. I get that. But the women who do this, as I say, if they're correct, then people are mislabeling them as a Karen. Bottom line. If you're being labeled a Karen and you are actually correct in your argument, you are not a Karen. On the other hand, if you're ratcheting around and you are not correct, or you're overboard, let's put it that way. If you're overboard in your argument, there's one thing to tell someone they're wrong and that this is not correct. If you're right in what you're saying, there's no need to go off and get overboard in your chastising them. The overboard Karen is a Karen, even if she's right. Okay? There are only certain ways to be a Karen. Okay? Or a Kevin. We call men Kevins. Karens and Kevins. Okay? Because they go off either when they're wrong, or even if they're right, they go overboard. They just won't quit. Just keep coming. Okay? If you're right, tell the person they're wrong and let it go. There you go. Now you've informed them that they're incorrect, you're correct, and you're done. They can learn that they're wrong later on their own.
You know, one can only feel shame if they, at least at some level, actually value anyone aside from themselves. But these people don't care. They don't value anyone or care about anyone else or anything else. It's no wonder that in a culture filled with so many of these types, the so-called Karens would become public enemy number one. Now, we must note, I'm afraid to say, that, well, I'm not afraid to say, I'm saying, it's, unfortunately, I must say that dog owners in particular have a tendency to fall into this and to disregard everyone around them. Not all dog owners, certainly. I'm a dog owner. Guess what? I don't fall into this. But some of them seem to think that they're imbued with the mystical right to bring their dogs anywhere and everywhere all the time. But why should this be allowed? Why should other people have to put up with your pet, even in places where it's obviously not appropriate to bring animals, such as at a restaurant or a grocery store, on a plane? Well, they should have to put up with it because the dog owner wants to bring their dog. And the only thing that matters in the whole entire universe is what they want. Your desire to eat at a restaurant with basic first world sanitation doesn't register to them. It means nothing. The only thing that means anything is what they want to do. That's how they think.
I'll agree as long as the dog is truly a service dog. Like I said, a true service dog. A true service dog should be recognized, should have a tag, should have a collar or a vest. It should be well-mannered, well-trained. If you're going to take a dog into a restaurant, that dog should lay next to you, should lay under the table or next to you, not even get up to move. The dog should never get up unless you're getting up to go to the bathroom or to leave or whatever the case may be. Should be extremely well behaved, well trained, just the way it is. Like I say, I've had two friends that had true service dogs, and they were so well trained, you just wouldn't believe it. They were more like a 10-year-old kid. You tell the kid to sit down, and he is well-mannered and sits down, lays down on, whatever you tell the dog to do, it should do first time, every time. And again, should have either a tag on the collar, a special collar, says service dog, a vest, and be well-mannered and well-trained. That's understandable. And if you're going to go into certain places like a restaurant or something like that, you need to have a trained, certified service dog. The rules that they have where you're not allowed to ask for the credentials of the dog, that needs to go away. That's bullshit. Because it's that particular law, that particular rule, that is making the whole thing just a big crapshoot and bullshit show.
By the way, the restaurant thing, if you think I'm exaggerating this, we were debating this on Twitter. It won't surprise you to learn. I made this point about, well, don't bring your dogs in restaurants. All kinds of dog owners coming out of the woodwork to say, well, no, I'm going to bring my dog in any restaurant I want. Why do you need to bring your dog into a restaurant? People are eating. Can you not at least not bring the dog into places where it's a dining area? You have an animal that licks his own butt, and in the dining area, I'm paying money to eat here. Can I at least not have the animal there?
Now, on the same token with this, he's getting all upset about this. Actually, he's, at some point, Matt sometimes becomes a Karen. Because he says himself that he's a dog owner. Is your dog in the house while you're eating? Does your dog come and lay by your side at the kitchen table while you're eating? Does your dog happen to watch you eat? I have yet to have a dog that doesn't watch me fucking eat. That just, even if it's 6 feet away, the son of a bitch will sit there and stare at me, okay, while I eat. But if you're a dog owner, Matt, do you put your dog outside every time your wife starts to cook? Does it stay outside until the entire family is finished eating? Does it go into another room Do you lock it in another room whenever your wife starts to cook and it stays there until the entire family is finished eating? If not, that dog is within eyesight of you and it's watching you eat.
And you got all these dog owners saying, no, I want to bring my... Why should you? Because I want to. Just because I want to. That's it. That's the only reason. I just want to do what I want to do. And it's like it doesn't register on them that that's not a valid argument. That's just you saying you're a selfish ass, which I get it. I know you are, but that's not a justification. So the Karens are the ones. They are the only ones, really, with the guts to call these assholes out to their faces. I think it's great. In a world full of entitled brats who demand that the rules conform to their preferences, the Karens are there standing in the gap, raging against the dying of the life and the dying of our social norms and etiquette. We also see this, it's not just with dog owner, but we see this especially in customer service situations. You know, the Karen is so reviled, so often condemned for her propensity to call for the manager. But why does she do that? Because customer service is horrifically abysmal these days. We all know that. You know, so often as a customer, you find that you are paying for the privilege of being treated with total disregard, if not outright contempt, by the employees whose wages you are subsidizing. I went through a drive-through this morning. I hand it, pull up to the window. I say, hey, how are you? No response from the person. They don't even say a word. They just say, I pull up to the next window to get my food. No word, not a word, not a greeting, not anything. Okay, I'm paying your only job is to smile and say hello and hand a bag. That is your whole job. And you're not doing it. You can't do it. You refuse to do it. Now, most people just sit there meekly and take it, allowing themselves to be flagrantly disrespected by people whose whole entire job is to treat them well and care about their experiences. Karens are the only ones who don't go along with that program. And I applaud them for it. Because I admit, I'm guilty of this. I go to the drive-thru, they hand me an order, like half of it is wrong. You can't even get not only do they have contempt for you, they hate you just for being there. And we just like accept that, like that's okay. You know right away, like if you have an order that involves more than 2 food items, at this point, you know for a fact that it's going to be wrong, at least partially. And
you obviously live in a big city, Matt. Because I live in a small town. And in North Dakota, to my thinking, we have no big cities. Even if you go to Bismarck, the capital of North Dakota, we got less than 100,000 people there. Maybe less than 200 for sure. Less than 200,000 people in Bismarck, North Dakota. I would say there's even less than 200,000 people in Fargo, North Dakota, or Grand Forks, North Dakota, which are the biggest cities in the entire state. So I wouldn't even call those big cities. Granted, you may get that kind of service once in a while, but I can honestly tell you that I have never been to a fast food place in a drive-thru in North Dakota where they didn't say, hello, that'll be such and such. Or when they hand me at the second window, hand me my food, they don't say, there you are, sir, have a good day. Maybe it's a big city problem, Matt. Maybe it's a million people in the area problem. You think, maybe? Where they get so much heat from people in drive-thru on a daily basis that they just get desensitized to it and would rather tell you to fuck off than anything else. Mom always said, better to say nothing than to say something mean. And if you were an asshole at the ordering station when you were on the microphone telling them what your order was, maybe that got carried down to the person you give your money to and got carried down to the person that hands you your food and so on. Next time, try going in. See if it changes. If it doesn't change, you might want to say something. You might not. Because the next time, they might remember you. And in a big city, they might just spit in your fucking food.
Like most people, when that happens to me, I'm like, oh, whatever. Okay, all right. I guess I'm eating this now. I wanted a hamburger. You gave me a chicken. Well, all right, I'll eat chicken. Fine. Because I don't feel like dealing with it.
I've never had that happen. I've had them forget stuff. Okay. Yeah. I've had them order 2 of these. I only got 1. Okay. Well, that's why I checked the bag while I'm still sitting there. Like, I ordered 2 of these and 3 of those. Okay. And we'll open up the bags and look in there while they're looking through the window at me. Okay. So then I can just go, oh, you're missing one of those. Okay. Oh, we ordered, curly fries, and you've got 2 regular fries in this bag. There's no fries in this bag. Could you switch one of those out for the curlies? Okay, little bullshit. Okay. But I'm sitting right there at that window while I check that order so that they can watch me check that order. And if you don't do that, yeah, you're stuck with what the hell you got.
But the Karen, okay, the so-called Karen, she's the only one who says, hell no, I'm the customer. I'm paying. Hey, guess what, buddy? You're going to get my order right. Provide me with competent service, or else you're going to have a problem. I'm going to cause a problem for you.
Now, the Karen is the one that drives away from the window and comes back bitching. See? Well, now you left. I don't know what you did after you left. Okay? If you hand me the bag back after you left, I don't know what was in that bag, and I don't know what you took out of that bag. Just that simple. Now, granted, if you ordered 2 cheeseburgers and you come back and one of them's a chicken and you can show me the receipt, you're probably right. But again, without being a Karen, don't go overboard on it. If you go overboard on it, even if you're right, you're still a Karen.
And you can pull out your stupid phone and you can get it on, you can put it on Twitter. I don't give a shit, okay? You're going to give me proper service. I'm paying you. This is what I paid for. Give me what I pay for.
Then you need to check it at the window. If you go up to the counter and they hand you your bag, you need to check it right in front of them. And that way they know for a fact that they were wrong. If you take it away, go out and get in your car and come back later and tell them something's wrong, how do they know you didn't fuck with it in the car? You need to check the bag in front of them. If they're wrong, don't go overboard. Just let them know this isn't correct. Here's what the receipt says. Check the bag yourself. Ta-da! We don't need a manager.
I think more of us should be Karens. A lot more of us. Maybe then there wouldn't be so many lazy, incompetent brats everywhere. So, again, I say thank God for Karens. Thank God for middle-aged white women who don't have time for your bullshit. They are the unsung heroes of our society. Okay? They are. They're not canceled. Not on this show. On every other show they are. Not on this one. Instead, it is the selfish jerks who make the Karen necessary. They are the ones who are today canceled.
All right. Yeah. I hate to say it, but to a degree, he's right. To a degree, he's wrong. You've got to know the difference between a Karen and somebody just being correct and complaining. Okay? And people who call people Karens also need to know the difference between someone who is correct and complaining or going overboard when they are correct and becoming a Karen, or just plain wrong about what they're complaining about. Because that's a Karen. It's not that hard of a deal to figure out. And if you find a conservative complaining about a Karen, you'll probably figure that out. Because there's two kinds of Karen. There's the Karen who's incorrect in the argument that they're making. And there's the Karen who's correct in the argument they're making, but they just go overboard. They're just pushing it way too far. So let me know what you think about Karens. I make a judgment call. I like watching Karen videos. Okay? And granted, some of them really aren't Karens. On the other hand, most of them are. Most of them either go too far when they're correct, or they're just wrong when they start and just can't shut up. So, like, share, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the video. And let me know what you think about Karen. Am I right or am I wrong? Have a good day.